What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. We're going to start with a mini round of applause for the Dolphins finally legitimately addressing the cornerback situation. It has been a long and windy road of outcasts and, you know, upside driven, whatever moves he made in the secondary. That's really, let's just be honest, made the fan base a little bit upset. We see y'all spending money everywhere on offensive line, D line, like linebacker. All right, cool. Secondary, meh. But finally, the Dolphins have made a move for a legitimate, bona fide starting cornerback by signing Rasul Douglas, who we have been in contact with since April. Uh, I don't, I don't know what finally made things go now. His contract's only 1 year for $3 million, so that tells me that the money was never that crazy. I was saying 1 year, 7 to 10 million, and I thought that would be a little rich for our blood. If we can get him down to about five, that was acceptable. 1 year for 3 million seems like he could have been signed a long time ago. Like, I don't know why it took so long to get this deal done. I'm guessing he had a higher number in mind, but even if his number was five, 1 year, 5 million for a starting corner feels fair to me. I don't believe he was asking for 10 and dropped all the way down to three. There's someone who would have signed him in between those numbers. So is it that he wanted a 2 or 3 year extension and we didn't want to get the extension? Is that what it was? Is it, you know, he wanted a ton of money up front or full guarantees and we wanted to make it incentive laden? We don't know the backstory of all that. What I know is a 1 year, $3 million contract for someone who you project to be a starting corner is as good a value as you can get. And as a Dolphin fan, we can be happy about this. I don't think Rasul Douglas is the greatest corner of all time. I do think he instantly becomes probably the best corner on our roster. He has a lot of experience. 19 career picks is nothing to sneeze at. He played for a division rival for a long time, so he knows our game. We should know his a little bit as well. And we've been having this dance since April. We've been going back and forth, man. Like, yo, we'll give you this. I want this. Oh, you want to take it? Cool. I'll go work out for Seattle. That didn't work out. Cool. I'll be a free agent. Maybe go talk to the Chargers. Nope, not them either. Now I'm still a free agent. I don't know what it was that finally pushes across the finish line. It doesn't seem to be like the money is what did it. Maybe the guaranteed starting spot because I don't imagine we signed him not thinking he would start. Maybe seeing the preseason and we notice, hey, we kind of have a glaring need at cornerback one or two. We like Jason Marshall, so we feel like we kind of got the nickel corner. And we know we got the starting free. Everything else is kind of fluid. And maybe the team felt like, hey, if we just add Rasul, we kind of are okay to slightly below in the secondary versus just bad. That's where we were up until now. I mean, secondary was bad, just unequivocally bad. Now it's like, okay, we can be okay. Our D line looks like it could be ferocious. We have the D tackles in place that we feel good about. Big, strong with a little bit of pass rush. We have all the ends in the world after you added Matthew Judon. So we feel like the pass rush should be great. Our linebackers are more than solid to very good with the addition of Willie Gay. And now the secondary can just, if it can just be average, the defense is solid. Just an average secondary plus our defense, I think, in the top half of the league. So it'll be a top 15, 16 defense. And if the secondary gets better than average, slightly above average, I don't think they'll be great. I'm not I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid that much, but they can be slightly above average. We could be in that top 12, 13 defensive range, assuming everybody on the D line stays healthy. If our D line stays healthy, we're going to be harassing quarterbacks all year, and it's going to make everybody's job a lot easier. And by adding Rasul on the back end, I think it shores up the secondary, which is by far at this point, the weakest unit because the O line is not whole. So they're a weak unit because they're not playing their guys. We've been playing the guys that we think should play week one, and it's been a lot of we don't love what's happening back there. So very happy we signed Rasul. It's a long time coming. Welcome to the Dolphins. I know you can throw that blue jersey away. If you need it lighter, plenty of people in the city will give you one to burn that 31. And let's start over a little bit fresh. Surprisingly, the Dolphins have already signed a kicker. I said Eddie Pinheiro yesterday. He actually was one of the kickers brought in for the workouts today. along with Zane Gonzalez, and I forgot the kicker. But it doesn't matter. None of those guys got the job. The job went to Riley Patterson, who is only 25 years old, but has been on 8 different teams, which is crazy. Basically, he's good enough to get on teams, maybe be the backup kicker, and then not keep the job long term, which is the perfect kicker you want, actually, as a fill in kicker for your starter. You don't want to bring in a guy who's going to create a kicking controversy where he comes in and he starts saying, hey, we're only paying this kid 1 year, $1.5 million. You're paying Jason 4 million. We could save money on against the cap. Like, we don't want to get into those conversations because we know what Jason was last year, where he was awesome. We know what he was 2 years ago, which is less than awesome. You're bringing a kicker now that's like pushing for the starting spot. Fans start liking him. We understand the money game. That could be a problem. Riley is just good enough to be on the field for a short period of time, but not good enough to take the job, which is the ideal situation for your kicker. We don't want him taking anybody's job. Basically, he's great at like extra points and short field goals. You get him 45 and in, that 33-yard extra point, he's good to go. You go over 50, start praying. You getting a sub 50% kicker over 50. And at this point in the league, you should be probably even 50% as a 60% kicker. These guys are making 70-yard field goals in preseason games, multiple 60-yard field goals, 62, 63 yards field goal. That's not crazy anymore. That used to be Jason Elam career long and, Sebastian Janikowski career long type kicks. These guys, ever since Tucker broke that 63 barrier, then like Matt Prater and all these guys, like these guys are kicking long field goals. It's up for that. It's going to be like Brandon Aubrey casually hitting a 65 yarder. It's crazy. So if you're struggling at 51, 52, and these guys are hitting 60 plus yarders, you can't be a starter. I got to feel like over 55 yards, I still got a 3 and 4 chance for you to make that. If that number is 45%, what are we doing? But, you know, most kicks are not over 50, but a lot of them are, which means that for those first few games, we might, if we get down to like that 40 to 35 yard line, which is like the end of the 50 yard field goal range, you might see the team on 4th and 2 from the 35 just say, we're going to just go for it. Don't risk it. Don't bring him out here and, mess up his numbers like that. Let's just go for it. We have a better chance of making the 2.2 yards than him making a long field goal. I think it's a fine signing. I thought Eddie was the best signer just because he played the full season last year and was pretty accurate. His leg strength is definitely better. He might create more of a controversy, and or maybe he wanted more money. Who knows? What I read, Riley just beat everybody else out, which is cool. He earned his spot on the job. It took him all of a day to do it, and we hope that he comes in. We could keep him in, short kicks, extra points preferably, but even short field goals, cool. And then when the time comes, send him on his way, and then we bring back the big kick, and then we just kind of move on from there. As part of the roster move cuts today, the Dolphins have cut Aaron Shanklin and Mike Boone, who were two running backs we picked up in the last couple of weeks to make up for Alexander Madison being out and Devon Achane being injured. I said at the time, I don't expect these guys to make a significant move on the roster. They're not going to change lives. I don't expect much from them. And once again, they just proved me right. These guys, after barely playing, immediately off the team, and now we kind of have a void at running back. We have obviously our big three, and I'm that's a wild term in Miami, but between Achan, Wright, and Gordon, those are our three we're rolling with. Um, we do probably need a fourth running back. A few were cut today, so don't be shocked if you see Cam Akers getting a tryout for the team. Audric Estime, who played for the Broncos before, went to Notre Dame before. Big running back, big boy, over 235, close to 240, just big dude. Not particularly quick, short yardage, ramming kind of guy. I think Cam Akers is kind of like the running backs we already have. He's a slower version of like Jalen Wright and Devon Acham. So if we just want to keep another small, fast back, he could be it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is also a free agent. I just don't know what happened to Clyde's career. 100% out. When he came out of LSU, big fan. First year of the Chiefs, I'm like, man, this guy, Chiefs keep doing it. And then, don't know what happened. Isaiah Pacheco came along, took his job, and then Clyde has just been seahorsing around since then. But, small, tough running back. We'll see what happens. Audric to me is interesting because he's just so much bigger than the running backs. Even Ollie Gordon is big, but he's a little bit faster. Audric is just a tank, and we're talking about physicality as our calling card. So I wouldn't be shocked if we go that route because he's just a little bit more physical and bigger than what we currently have on the roster. But shout out to Aaron and Mike. Thank you for your couple weeks with the team. Hopefully you framed your jersey, and we will see you around. So cut day opens up a lot of questions, right? People hit me up today asking me like who I thought would be cut. I didn't do that on yesterday's episode, so you guys didn't hear that. But now that we've done the major part of our cuts, there may still be a couple moves here and there. People have asked me like, what's the most surprising cut day move? And honestly, it's the fact that Cam Smith did not get cut. Everything was lining up to Cam Smith getting cut. All off season, ownership, coaching, other players, retired players being like, yo, Cam back out. He got locked in. He hasn't shown us anything. We've done multiple stories on Cam Smith being like, hey, you were a second round pick as a cornerback and you cannot get on the field. That is unacceptable. We drafted you to be the heir apparent, to be the starter, and then you just betrayed the team by not living up to it. I don't know if it was work habit. I don't know if it was football IQ. I don't know if it was want to. I can't explain why he wasn't producing well. I just know that everybody in the organization was upset. Nobody was satisfied with what he was doing. Everybody was saying, listen, we can't make you good. We can put you in the right position. We can give you the right play calling. You got to be on a team with Jalen Ramsey for a couple of years, who's one of the best corners of this generation, teaching you all the logistics of how to play the position. And then you still weren't getting better with really no sign that the rise was coming. It wasn't like, oh, okay, he's just a young pup. But when he figures it out, he's going to get there. It was, is this guy going to figure it out? That's what everybody was saying. That's why we made 17 other moves at cornerback because we didn't think you were doing the job. You think we would have got Jack Jones if we thought that Cam Smith was going to do his job? Like, it was one of those situations where we got to make sure we go and get Artie Burns and all these other people because we don't think that you're going to do your job. So the fact that not only did he not get cut, but it's conceivable he could be day one starter. I guess it'll be between him and Storm Duck. Seems to be how it's shaping out right now. Sherfield, I feel like took a little bit of a step back, but we have a few weeks into the season start, so maybe Kendall can like supplant both of those guys. But I'm assuming Rasul starting at one corner and Jason Marshall Jr. starting at the other corner, the slot corner. We need a second corner. It's entirely possible, actually, that Cam starts. It really depends on how he rounds out practice and how the team feels about his preparation. But the idea that he was almost certainly like it was almost a foregone conclusion. Coach McDaniel was just like, "Hey, it's up to him if he makes it or not." Like I've never heard Coach be so. It's not even hands off. It was just like he was at the end of his wits. He was at his wits end. It's like, "Hey, we've done everything. We haven't needed this position. We've traded Kendall. We've traded Jalen. Like, it's you, dog. Like, you got to live up to what we thought you could be great. And finally, when we saw him on the field, he looked solid. He showed some flashes. He made some good plays. Did he look elite? No. But before, we thought he was an absolute bust. So you don't need to be elite. Can you be solid? I keep saying, our secondary can be solid. You don't have to be top three in the league. We don't need you to be Philadelphia or Denver or these teams where they can put guys on the islands and say, no, we're good. We're good out there. Even a team like Pittsburgh has a really good secondary. We don't need that from you. We need, can you hold down the second corner, or in this case, second receiver, well enough? Yes, at some point you'll play Devontae Smith or you'll play T. Higgins and it might get a little dicey. Those guys are kind of like bubble wide receiver ones that really play too. We get that. But for most weeks, can you hold down Quentin Johnston and with the Chargers? Like, can you stop him? Because Keenan Allen's going to be in the slot and Ladd is going to be their number one target. So could you stop somebody like him? Because that's what we're looking for. I don't need you to stop Rashid Rice, but can you stop who's their second? I don't even know who the second receiver for the Chiefs are. They have a lot of different guys. But like that kind of thing. Like, can you? Amari Cooper is now back with the Raiders. If you match up with Amari, can you do your job against Amari Cooper? Because Jacoby is going to be against, I'm guessing, Rasul. That kind of thing. If he can just do his job well enough, I think the more he plays, the better he's going to get. Sometimes when you don't get on the field, it starts getting in your head, and then when it gets in your head, it gets back in your game, and it becomes this loop of, can I do this? I'm not showing I can do this. They don't believe I can do this. Maybe I can't do this. And you start doing that. You start getting on the field, you make a couple plays, you start thinking, oh wait, I can do this. I'm okay at this. I'm good at this. Watch me do this. Right? There's a lot. You can go both ways as a corner, especially like you get beat one time and you have to walk back to the sideline, taking the chin strap off. You kind of heads down, like, man, I let that guy get on top of me. Like I saw him stutter his feet and I went for the bite. Or he's just faster than me. Or worse, I went up for the ball and then he just mossed me, which is just devastating because you can't even be like, the sun or the ball over. You just went up and he just plucked it like Julio Jones did that one time. I think he's the Patriots. If that happens, then you just got to take the L. But the better you play, the longer you play, the more you're on the field. I think it builds that efficacy within you. And I think what he's been missing is prolonged field play attached to him playing well. Like he's been on the field at moments. We've had plenty of injuries, but it hasn't been good. So it's been like I'm on the field doing cardio. I'm on the field like getting yelled at. I'm out of position, but what do you want me to do? If he's on the field playing well, you get a couple picks, couple pass defenses, and maybe you just get less targets thrown your way. I think that compounds. I think that compounds and it gets better and better each game. And then as your confidence goes up, you get a little bit aggressive as a corner. You get a little bit more physical as a corner, which I think only makes your job better, especially when you're an outside corner. That extra physicality, that extra like hand checking and like running them, I think it just makes you better. If you're playing corner scared, you're gonna get beat. Just period. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna overthink. You're gonna like want to see the ball in the air before making a throw. It's like how young quarterbacks in the NFL want to see the passing window before they throw the ball a lot of times because they're afraid if I throw it at the wrong time, it might get picked. So they'll wait, hold the ball, and then when the window opens, they'll throw it. But by the time the window opens in the NFL, it's about to close. So if you saw the window open, that means that it is being crashed down on from some direction by a defender or is about to get undercut by somebody. You gotta throw that receiver open. You hear that all the time. Throw the receiver open. It's because if he's open, unless like it's a defensive breakdown, he's running behind a defense like Tyreek Hill against the Super Bowl San Francisco team. If he's just running behind a defense, it's different. But in most cases, the ball comes out as they're about to break, and when they get out of their break, the ball is already on its way. So it shortens the amount of time that a cornerback can make a play on the ball. If Cam is thinking too much on the field, he's gonna not make. He's not gonna make breaks on the ball. He's gonna make a lot of tackles. That's a good way of knowing if a corner is in good position. If he's breaking on the ball and deflecting the ball or like getting his hand in there, that means he's kind of got the timing right. He's doing his job. If all you see is somebody catch the ball, receiver turn and face him, and he's making tackles over and over and over again, then he's either playing a real soft shell where he's not trying to get beat deep, which is like why prevent defenses typically hurt teams because you're just playing off all the time and receivers just keep chewing up yards, or he's in man but is afraid to make a move and getting beat, so he's just playing a little softer. Let me see the ball in the air. Oh, I'll break on it now, but now I'm not gonna get to the ball now. I'm too far away. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing when the season starts for real. How aggressive is he being at the point of the ball? Is he breaking on the ball? Is he reading the coverage well? Is he reading the receiver well? How good is his film study? That's going to show me for real. Is he a bona fide starter, long term starter, or is he a spot starter before somebody comes up and takes his job? Because that's very much in the cards. He doesn't have it secured. What he has is a chance to secure it, which is more than I would have said 2 months ago. So shout out to you, Cam Smith. Hopefully you stay on the field. Hopefully you live up to what we want you to be because that will be fantastic. Then we can really build around you and Minka and Jason, and we get one more corner, and now we got a young, really good secondary potentially. And don't get me excited, but that's what's on the table. As always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.